Hey, hi, what's up, everyone? Hope you all are doing great. So, here we are in the next chapter, next series, where we are covering our marketing management from the book by Philip Kotler, which is a standard marketing book used for MBA, PhD, masters, and other courses. So, here we have already covered the basics of marketing, what that exactly is, and that was the overview of marketing management, the overview of marketing, the overview of marketing in the new realities, the overview of how marketing planning is exactly done and marketing groups are exactly managed. So now, today is the day one where we are stepping into the part two of this marketing management. In the part one, we have covered fundamentals of marketing. Under that fundamental of marketing, there were two different chapters. Right now, we are heading towards the next part. The part is understanding the market. The name of this part is understanding the market. So here we would go through three different chapters. Today, the first chapter we would read about is analyzing the consumer market. So, with the name of this chapter already, I hope you can understand कि in marketing, there are basically three parts. One is the consumer, whom you are selling the product. You need to know them. Second is the business part, when you are doing competition with other competitors in the game. So that is the second part. And the other part is your company itself, how you are managing your company, your plannings, your strategies, tactics, everything there. So here, in this understanding the market part, we would cover the consumer market. We would know how exactly the consumer market works. What are all the things there in consumer market which more or less actually influences the things, the decisions taken by the consumers? So we would try to understand. Okay, so let's start with the very basic example which is shared at the beginning of this chapter. This is like Flipkart's human approach to technology revolves around consumer satisfaction and loyalty. The company's research focuses on understanding the factors that affects consumers' decision and plan and pain points. Okay. So here the examples which is given is for Flipkart, which is an online shop, right? Which is very popular in India. It's just like Amazon. So here, what's happening in this chapter? Under this company, Flipkart, what are they focusing exactly? So they're telling you they're focusing on consumers' requirement, because when it was developed in started in 2007, from that time till now, till today, by 2026, it has like covered kind of 19 years or more than that. Maybe 19-20 years is going to happen. So it's telling ki their approach was always the consumer's approach, what the consumer actually needs, or what are the pain points that they are facing, and how they can actually easy that part. Okay, so that was the importance, that is the importance of this chapter, understanding this chapter, where we would try to understand our consumer and consumer markets, and basis on that, um, our business initiatives, our plannings, our structure, everything could be changed, right? So after this example, we would move towards the first big topic of this chapter, which talks about the model of consumer behavior. The model of consumer behavior. Try to understand. So this model of consumer behavior says that consumer behaviors actually revolves around three big groups. One is um, how individual actually works, the consumer's characteristics, how their personal factors actually changes the decision, changes everything. Then second thing is how the society, everything creates or maybe influences the consumers. And third big thing is the culture, where the consumer has grown, that culture, how that affects the consumers. So under this topic, big topic of this chapter, which is the model of consumer behavior, we have these three factors which comes under consumer characteristics: influenced by culture, influenced by society, social influence, and the third thing is personal factors. Okay, so here we would try to understand each of every characteristics slowly and steadily. Let's try to understand or visualize the model of consumer behavior first. Okay, then we will step into this cultural, social, and personal factors, which are consumer characteristics. So this model of consumer behavior is telling कि the first pillar of this consumer behavior is marketing tactics and marketing contexts, where the company is strategizing everything, creating its tactics on the basis of the market and contexts. Then all these things are hitting whom? Hitting the consumers, right? Because all those things are targeted for specific set of consumers. Ki I am selling these things. Suppose you have started a restaurant which sells the authentic Bengali food. Okay. Now you have created your product, service, brand, price, incentives, communication, distribution, everything. Now all these things will go to whom? All these things will hit to consumers, right? In the, like in India, wherever you have opened this thing, that will hit the consumers. Suppose you have opened this Bengali food shop, Bengali cuisine restaurant in London. So London has Bengali consumers, Indian consumers, their regional consumers. Everyone is there from different countries. There are people. So these things will hit everyone. But out of those 100 customers, which is a mix of Bengali, Indians, Thai, native people, and other people, who will get attracted more? Do you think? Like the Bengalis, right? They would be the main target. Like this thing will hit their mind first. Okay, a Bengali cuisine restaurant has opened. We should try because we are like missing the authentic Bengali food or flavor and everything. Then second kind of people might be who are interested. Maybe the Indians. The third could be the other kinds of people who are little interested or want to like explore new things. Okay, so this whole pillar, which is the marketing tactics and marketing context, will hit the consumer pillar, which consists of consumer characteristics, consumer psychology. Then this thing will do what? Then this pillar will go to the last and final pillar, which is the decision process. It will hit the all consumers, but out of this all 100 customers, few of the consumers will convert because few of the consumers will recognize the problem. Then they will search for information. Suppose the 100 of those customers, out of those are 25 are Bengalis. They are having a problem of like they want some place where they can like explore and where they can feel the Bengali food, Bengali taste and everything. So they are suppose just changing the flavor. They are just changing the thought process. They're changing the decisions. They want to change the taste for one fine night or for one lunch, whatever it is. Like maybe out of those 100 customers, everybody like few of them will recognize the problem. Out of them, they will search for information. They will see there are 3 different restaurants. Out of those 3 restaurants, they will like select only one of the restaurant, might be, right? So then the buying process will happen. So try to understand broadly what I'm talking about. talking about the model of consumer behavior, which actually goes from one part, flows from one part to the other part to the other part. The first part is creating the business with all the tactics and everything. Second part is the consumer and everyone who have different aspects, their psychology and characteristics. Then the buying and decision process. Out of them, few people converse, few don't. So why? How? As we will move forward in this chapter, we will understand. Before that, let me show you the diagram here. The diagram is this one. This diagram we have talked in the previous part, right? This diagram is exactly about the marketing tactics and marketing condition. And then this part is new here, where we would know about consumer psychology and consumer characteristics. Then this thing will move to the buying decision and buying process, or after buying situation. So this is the whole consumer model, consumer behavior model. So as we would move forward in this chapter, we would understand these things in more and more details. So let's in this chapter actually, just take a screenshot and try to see. This part is consumer characteristics, right? Then consumer psychology. Then it is buying decision process and purchase decision. Buying decision process and this purchase decision. So in this chapter, we would go through all these blocks. First block, second block, third block, and fourth block. And these two blocks we have already covered in the previous chapters, where we have talked about or understood about the marketing fundamentals, right? So let's move in the consumer characteristic part. So what it is exactly, what this consumer characteristic part is exactly. So it has three big factors. The consumer characteristics are built upon three different factors. It is telling. The first factor is cultural factor. The second factor is social factor, and the third factor is personal factor. So what this cultural factor is? A culture is a way of life among a group of people. The behaviors, the beliefs, values, and symbols that they accept generally without thinking about them, and that are passed along by communication and imitation from one generation to the other generation. So the culture is the family culture, maybe the regional culture, maybe the state culture, maybe the country's culture, maybe the group of people who develop certain behaviors, beliefs, values, and symbols that they accept generally without thinking about them. That is the culture. So just for information, suppose someone from this generation have grown up in the very detached village in India. Someone has grown up, maybe one girl, a boy, whoever this is. Then there are a set of people from this generation who have grown up in the mountains in India. Right? Very beautiful mountains it has. Uttarakhand, Himachal. So suppose they have grown up there. And suppose there is another set of people from this generation, girls, boys, who have grown up in the metro cities. Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, everywhere, right? So there would be certain difference, right? There would be certain belief systems which are there in them already. So those things actually belongs to their culture. Like the thing that they have developed, the behaviors they have developed, the values they have accepted, generally, and they follows that without giving it a second thought. That become a habit. So that is the cultural factor. Then the second thing is social factor. What is social factor exactly? In addition to this cultural factor, the social factors such as reference group. Social factor actually includes the reference group. including the family, the buying behavior. The social factor could be their friend circle as well. The social factor could be where they are working as well. That could also become the social group. So here, under this social factor, the next point is coming as a reference group. So what is a reference group? It's telling that reference groups include all the groups that have a direct or indirect effect on a person's beliefs, decisions, and behavior. The reference group includes all the groups that have a direct or indirect effect on a person's beliefs, decisions, and behavior. Family members typically constitute the most influential primary reference group. Parents and siblings have a major influence in forming an individual's beliefs, value systems, and behavior. An individual's spouse and children, on the other hand, have a more direct impact on everyday buying decisions, especially in the case of high tickets items that are used by different members of the household. Okay, so we just understood about the social group. So reference group, right? So under this reference group, the other point is like opinion leader or an influencer. Or who are those? Those are mainly the people or the person who offers informal or formal advice or information about specific product or product category, and the other consumers get affected. Like they are the opinion leader. Suppose you have a cousin group in your family. Out of them, like one is a very cool one, right? So everybody listens to them. Maybe they're elder and good at their studies, what they do, very smart and everything. So they automatically become the opinion leader there, right? So they become the influencer of this reference group. So after this reference group, like the we would talk about the family, which is also a social group, right? The family, as the most influential primary reference group, is the most important consumer buying organization in the society. There are two families in the buyer's life. The family of orientation consists of parents and siblings. From parents, a person acquires an orientation towards religion, politics, and economics, along with a sense of personal ambition, self-worth, and love. So, a more direct influence on everyday buying behavior is the family of procreation, namely the person's spouse and children. So, this family is also divided into two parts. One family where the consumer has grown up, right? With their parents, uncle, aunties, the full family. And the procreational family, the second part of the family, is what? That is the spouse, children, and partner, everyone. So that's how this social factor is also divided into multiple parts. So now we are at the third point under this consumer characteristic, which is the personal factor. So what does personal factor is exactly? So personal factor, personal characteristic is that influences buyers' decision include their age and stage and life cycle, occupation, economic circumstances, personality, self-concept, and lifestyle and values. Because many of these factors have a direct impact on consumer behavior, it is important for marketers to follow them closely, right? So the personal factor, the one big point could be the age. The personal factor, the other big point could be at which life cycle they are. The other point could be in which occupation they are. The other point could be in which economic circumstances they are. On this basis, all the personal factors in the consumer also gets divided and falls into different bucket, right? So Let's go to the next point under this personal factor, that is like personality and self concept. What it is exactly? Personality and self concept is telling ki by personality we mean a set of distinguishing human psychological traits that lead to relatively consistent and enduring response to environmental stimuli, including buying behavior. We often describe personality in terms of such traits as self confidence, dominance, autonomy, defense, sociability, defensiveness, and adaptability. Consumers typically choose and use brands with a brand personality consistent with their actual self concept. So consumers are typically choose and use brands with a brand personality consistent with their actual self concept, how we view ourselves. Although the match may instead be based on consumers' ideal self concept, how we would like to view ourselves, or even on others' self concept. These effects may be more profound for publicly consumed products than the privately consumed goods. On the other hand, consumers who are high self monitors, this that is, are sensitive to the way others see them, are more likely to choose brands whose personality fit the consumption situation. Okay, so if we go through it step by step, basically this personality and self concept is कि suppose there are thousands of people in this world. Few people likes sport very much. They are very active, goes to gym, participates in sports. So that becomes their personality. And those group of people, out of those 1,000 people, if there are 100 people like this, then their behavior could be a little similar with each other towards something. So that's how this personality and self concept is used to segment the consumers. Got my point? So, under this personality and self concept, there are three different terms which are coming. Number one is actual self concept. How we view ourselves. That is, the self concept is also divided. One is actual self concept, how we see actually ourselves. Then second one is ideal self concept, how we would like to view ourselves. Got it? And the other part is others self concept, how we think others are seeing us. So this all these things, all three parts actually could be used to create some brand, right? Suppose this how actually we see ourselves, how ideal self concept should be, or how others we think others are seeing us. So this other self concept is more applicable for the products which are used externally, outside. Maybe a branded phone show the perception or tweak the perception for us, for the rest of the people, could be used, right? Then how we want to see each other, what is the ideal self concept? Suppose we want to see us as Virat Kohli. So some brand which is associated with him, like he would try to adapt, right? If there is something, then suppose if there is a watch which he is promoting, and we want to be like ideal Virat Kohli, then people would wear that, right? That's the ideal self concept. And there is another called actual self concept. Okay, so with these 3 points, we'd move to the next point, which comes under personal factor, that is values and lifestyle. Consumer behavior is guided by a value system, a set of principles and notions of right and wrong that determines what is meaningful and important to consumers and how they choose to live and interact with others. So this value and lifestyle also actually is used for many brands. Suppose if you take the example for Alan Solly, we already know what Alan Solly is. It's a like formal wear company. So they actually during 1990s they have started the concept of Friday dressing, like the a little casual, not exactly formal, but casual dressing in the office, but stylish one with a branded Alan Solly thing. So that thing was started in 1990s. Then during 2008, they have changed my world, my way, and this conversation they put in front of the people. And then Alan Solly in 2018 launched another like concept which is called ki open work culture. So that is the value system, that is the lifestyle system or working style system actually they have promoted, and people who felt connected with that they brought the product and they admired it, right? So that's how this consumer behavior and parts of different consumer behavior, value and lifestyle system, personality and self-concept system, different things could be targeted for specific products. Suppose you are building a product. Suppose here we just took an example of Alan Solly, how they have developed it using the value system and the lifestyle system. Suppose you are starting to sell a chewing gum. Just taking a random example, a chewing gum. So you want to uh, like attach it with some personality trait, with some consumer characteristic trait. Suppose you want to connect it with confidence, and maybe people who feel confident already, they would be able to use like they would like feel confident while chewing the chewing gum because it is associated with it. Then the people who sees themselves as confident, um, the ideal version of them, they would have that too for feeling little confident. And the third type of people are who thinks ki other think that they are confident always and they are very brave, then they will also have that. Now if you are able to communicate this brevity, this energy, this confidence is associated with a brand of chewing gum that you are developing, then to it would be great, right? So that's how actually this all parts which are discussed here in very small segments, those could become an integral part of this marketing planning. While understanding the consumer market, if we can place our product in such way, then it can become really beneficial. So after covering this consumer characteristic, we are going to the next block of the second pillar, which is consumer psychology. So what this consumer psychology consists of? This is consisted of motivation, perception, emotion, and memory. So while understanding this consumer's motivation, we need to know the consumer's needs. What it is exactly associated with consumer needs. We have we might have heard about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a triangle which tells about specific levels of needs which people actually fulfills in different phases of their life, and they move towards the next stage once they have achieved the first one. This is the basic needs for food, shelter. Then the second one is safety. Then the third one is social needs. Then this is esteem and self-realization. Okay, there are the 5 steps of needs. So on this basis of consumer needs, at whatever stage consumers exactly are, they would be motivated towards the specific need which the product is able to fulfill, right? if someone is needing the self-esteem, which is at the fourth level of Maslow's hierarchy, then um, our customer would become only the people who are in that phase. We cannot target someone who is just fulfilling their basic needs, physiological needs, food, shelter, and water, for selling the product which actually is offering the esteem. We cannot expect ki we would offer this esteem product to them and they will buy, right? So on this basis of needs, we can divide the consumers. We can understand our consumers more effectively, and we can develop, right, our proposition. So under this consumer motivation, we have understood the consumer needs triangle, which is Maslow's hierarchy. Then this consumer, under this consumer's motivation, we will discuss one small example, which is talking about the PT Cruiser. Was Daimler Chrysler's first foray into vehicle design, using archetype research intended to trigger an emotional appeal and lead to purchase. So it is talking about one car company which was specifically designed to trigger an emotional appeal in their customers, right? For motivating them. Then there was Betty Crocker cake mixes. Another example. They're telling ki since she sprang into being a century ago, Betty Crocker has lent her name to more than 200 General Mills products and has even hosted her own radio and TV cooking shows. Okay. So that's telling ki Betty Crocker, the name, synonyms with cooking and baking. In 1921, to personalize response to consumer inquiries resulting from a promo for gold medal flour. Betty captured a fame via popular radio show. Okay, they have used radio shows and everything. Betty image has morphed from the first rather motherly figure in 1936 to that of a modern working woman. Okay, and she has managed to stay relevant throughout the year through painstaking research. For example, when sales of its instant Betty Crocker cake mix began to in 1950s, the dry cake mix required only the addition of water using Freudian methods to query focus on groups of women. Dichter concluded that the ritual of baking a cake was rife with relationship, okay, and fertility symbolism, and suggested removing the powdered egg from the mix instead of making housewives add their own fresh egg. Cells soared after General Mills followed the advice. That's pretty amazing to know about this example where Betty Crocker has used multiple marketing channels, radios, TV shows, and they actually connected with motherly women's figure to the like modern working women figure, and by understanding their emotional status, their needs, their motivation, what they require, by connecting that thing with those their product, she was able to provide or generate the motivation, or was able to connect with the existing motivations in their customers' mind. So where they just hit correctly in their mind, and it worked. And continuous development was there. Like as they have told ki, the powdered egg mix they have removed so that housewives can add their own fresh eggs from the fridge and everything. So those were examples of continuous improvement, right? So with this motivation part, we will move to the next part under consumer psychology, which is perception. So this perception is very interesting. Why? Because suppose you are sitting in your office and there is some noise. Suppose you and your friend are sitting there. So the same noise could be perceived differently. You can think, oh my god, what just happened? I'm very anxious. Like, why they're fighting? And the other colleague that you have could be very chill. That is a normal thing which happens regularly. Just chill and work. Like the same stimulus, right? The noise, but the perception was very different for both of them. So that's where the perception actually works. Suppose you are sharing one marketing advertisement, that same thing could be perceived differently by different people. There is always possibility, but you have to make sure how the thing that you want to deliver via the marketing campaign should be delivered in the proper way, right? That should be your target. So let's come to the first big topic under perception, which is called selective attention. So what is this selective attention? That is actually what people are more likely to see. Suppose a person who is motivated to buy a smartphone, they will notice the advertisements regarding smartphone only. Suppose you want to buy one t-shirt, baggy t-shirt, okay, which is in trend. Then while you will walk in the streets, you will notice the baggy t-shirts only. People who will be wearing that. Like, it's a common thing that we see. Suppose you think about buying one car, one particular car, you just observe, like you just think, I would buy this car. When you step outside, you would start noticing that car mainly, right? That's what which could happen. So with this thing, like the next part under selective attention is people are more likely to notice stimuli they anticipate. Suppose there are two advertisements or a different kind of products in an electronic shop. And there are laptops, there are radio, there are television. If you step into that, you are more likely to see the laptops rather than radios, because radio we don't use anymore that much, right? So with the products that we anticipate more, people are more likely to see those. And the third big point under the selective attention is people are more likely to notice stimulus whose deviations are large in relationship than the normal size. Suppose there are two different advertise, 3-4 different advertise, or many different things mentioned for a particular product, but on big note there is written ki 80% off, and somewhere it is written just 5% off. Which one you would notice? The 80% or the 5%? You just tell me. 80% is too big to give off. 50% you can understand. The bigger the deviation is, larger its effect in the relationship is, and people will notice that more clearly than the other things, right? So after this selective attention part, we would go to the next part of perception, which is called selective distortion. So what is this selective distortion exactly? Selective distortion is when course changed its label from like one small example I will share under the selective distortion. You will understand what this is, okay, rather than saying many things. So this selective distortion, the example is, suppose there were one beer company course, they just changed their label, which was called earlier the banquet beer. They just changed their banquet beer name to original draft. They did not change anything else. The taste, the flavor, the product was same as before. But after consuming it, after the consumers consumed it, who were the previous consumer, uh, they told they can feel a slight change in the flavor, slight change in the flavor. So that's what the selective distortion is. With by changing a very basic thing, the packaging, the name, you can change the perception of the consumers. They can think, oh, this thing is upgraded, just by seeing the label. I think so. That's how the selective distortion actually works. Consumers will often distort information to make it consistent with prior brand and product beliefs and expectations, right? So that's there. And the next thing under this consumer psychology after perception is emotion. So what this emotion is a very strong thing. If any brand can associate with any of the emotion with the consumers, no? That stays with them forever, like for generations maybe. Okay. So suppose the example is like to help teen girls and young women feel more comfortable talking about feminine hygiene and feminine care products. Kimberly Clark used 4 different social media networks in its Break the Cycle campaign for its You by Kotex brand. With overwhelmingly positive feedback, the campaign helped Kotex move into the top spot in terms of word of mouth share for the feminine care targeted market. An emotion filled brand story has been shown in triggers people desire to pass along things they hear about brands through either word of mouth or online sharing. So this is just telling कि if you can hit particular emotion for your specific consumers, when this feminine hygiene product and care product actually talked about the confidence they should carry, the comfortness they should carry when doing it. This campaign actually helped women. This campaign actually passed via word of mouth because girls like that, women like that. They actually admired that and they accepted that. So that's how the emotional appeal could be created. That was only one example. There are different examples for different companies. You can just search in Google and see, or you can check in this book itself. There are multiple examples written, nostalgia related and other related. So any of the emotions, if any of the brand is able to trigger, na, that would be really, really, really beneficial because it stays forever. If you can, like, if you can like have the trust of your consumers, build a trust with the emotion, good emotion, then it will stay forever. So after this motivation, perception, emotion, we will move to the next block, which is called memory. What is memory exactly? Memory, the brain's ability to record, store, and retrieve information and events. It's not only record, it's like record, store, and retrieve. Okay. So memory models are, there are 2 types of memory, mainly broadly short-term memory and long-term memory. We know short-term memory stays for shorter period, long-term memory stays forever, permanent. Okay. So along with them, there are different types of long-term memory as well, which is called episodic memory, which is associated with particular events, particular occasion, episodes. Then the second long-term memory is semantic memory, which is general knowledge, concepts, facts, logics. Okay, that is semantic memory. And the third type of is procedural memory, which is also a part of long-term memory, which is a part of sensory motor activated. Like it could be but through repetition or automatic sensory motor activities which are already there. Those are part of this long-term memory. Okay. So brand association consists of brand related thoughts, feeling, perception, images, experiences, beliefs, and attitudes. If as a marketer, as a company brand, we are able to create this particular memory model And by using these marketing campaigns, if we are able to create a uh, long term memory in our consumer's mind, then though it would be like great. So for example, you can think of Colgate, which has actually created long term memory in people's mind. Even whenever you are thinking about any toothpaste, most probably 80% of the people would think of this Colgate only. Doctor ka bharosa, and, and everything was told in the advertisements, and the repetitiveness of the advertisement and everything was there. So that's how the memory model, by using the memory model, by understanding it, we can uh, create marketing campaigns which can trigger these memories and generate and record, create, and make this memory retrievable as well in a consumer's mind. So, after discussing this short-term, long-term memory and the types of long-term memories under memory model, we would and the brand's association with memory, um, we would move to the next topic under this memory part only, which is called memory process. So this memory model, after memory model, we are discussing this memory process, and under this memory process, there are two parts, big parts. One big part is memory encoding, describes how and where information gets into memory. That means at which time memory gets uh, like information is stored and converted into memory. That is one important thing. Suppose one marketing campaign is working there, but that thing, that information, set of information, is not converting into a memory or long-term memory. It's saying into a short-term memory only. So then it will not be effective. It will not considered as the effective thing, right? So after that, other thing is also important. Ki there should be certain scenarios where the memory is retrieved as well. Huh? So suppose there is one event created by one marketing campaign, and the set of people actually enjoyed it. They have stored it in their long-term memory, and when again the next year or whenever that kind of situation is coming, when hundreds of people are there together seeing one performance, that memory is triggering in their mind. Acha, okay, that brand was there. I can remember that brand, that event and everything. So that's how this memory gets retrieval, or memory retrieval actually works for the thing. So now we are actually knowing the theory, the types of memories, memory model, and everything which exists, but using it, planning a campaign accordingly, and executing it, and the return on the investment, when as a marketer you are able to achieve, then it becomes really a different ball game. So after this information under memory, we would go to the next pillar, which is called the buying decision process. So basically, under this consumer behavior model, we have covered the second pillar that we just talked about, which is called the consumer characteristic and consumer psychology. Consumer characteristics as what? They have cultural, social, and personal thing, and consumer psychology has the motivation, emotion, and other factors. Okay, so we have covered this pillar. So after that, the buying process, buying decision process, we will go through, and that is really important. So you know, while understanding or the basic psychological process that we just reviewed, that to play an important role in consumers' actual buying decision. But here are some key consumer behavior questions that makers and marketers should ask in terms of who, what, when, and where, and how, and why. Why they will buy, who are buying the products, who influences the decision, what does the consumers buy, why do consumers buy the particular brand, Where do consumers go and look for buying the products, and how is our product and our service is um, standing there, right? So so with all this set of question, I would like you guys to take a screenshot of it. Take a screenshot and convert it to mirror image. Okay, I guess the focus is there. So there are a set of questions as a marketer you should always ask while building anything. So now we are moving towards the buying decision blocks. Yeah, how one consumer actually comes to a conclusion कि they need to purchase this particular thing. So this has particularly 5 steps. See, 5 steps, which starts with the problem recognition. Okay, so what happens? First, they recognizes the problem. Then they search for the information on the web or wherever it is to the people they know. The third thing is they evaluate the alternatives. What are the options I have? I can order from here, order from there, or from there. Then they create a purchase decision. Okay, I will buy from here because these are all the things that I'm getting from here. The other things I'm not getting. But the fifth thing is, after buying, the post-purchase behavior. They're satisfied. They're very good. They're okay with it. They are recommending it to other people, or they're very, they're absolutely not liking the service or whatever this is. That would come under the post-purchase behavior, right? So these are the main things or main parts under problem buying decision process. So this problem recognition itself has I hope you understood what this problem recognition is. Suppose your mobile have suppose at some point of time your mobile has become slow. You have understood the problem, you recognize the problem. Now what you will do, you will search for the information. Okay, I need to buy one phone, my budget is that, so I want this features. Then you will start searching for the information on the web, right? Okay, these are all the phones in the market which are newly launched. These are the things they are offering. These are coming under my thing. These are the things I want. Then this comparison will come after searching for the information, right? Then you will evaluate all the things. Then your belief system and attitudes will come into that. Then you will compare the things. Okay, these are all the things that I'm comparing. These are the things I will get. These are the things I will not get. Then you would come to a buying decision and you will buy, right? So this is the process or journey that consumer actually goes through while buying one product. So it's not like they always go through these 5 steps. Sometimes it can happen they can directly skip from one step to the other depending on the situation. So suppose, just for example, if there are these 5 steps: problem recognition, information search, comparison, then purchase decision and post purchase decision. So where after recognizing the problem, sometime it may happen कि they did not evaluate it and everything. They don't need to do it because they have already, suppose they have already one trusted brand कि I will buy this phone only from this company. So they will not evaluate. They will directly go to this particular brand and they will just see which product is available there under this budget and they will buy. Okay, so that's how it actually works. It's not like the standard process is this 5 blocks, but at any point of time it may happen any of the steps are skipped. Okay, so this information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, everything. So here one another important thing which I would like to discuss is like expectancy value model. Expectancy value model, what is that? Expectancy value model is, suppose there are 4 types of laptops which are available, 4 companies, 4 laptops are available in the market. They have their memory capacity, they have their graphic capability, they have their size and weight, they have their price, and all these things are suppose scored accordingly. So now on the basis of all the scores, whichever would be scored highest, customers will buy that. Like there is the higher probability of buying that, right? Suppose let me show you this table. See, there are laptop ABCD and all the attributes it has, those are scored. Now out of this 4 scores, suppose any one is getting highest, other second highest, third highest, and fourth highest. So now as a marketer, if you already know the decision, the thing, the scorings of this all these laptops, so when you are developing this product, suppose you are falling under this second highest category. Now you have this expectancy value model. Now you know how to apply it. You have done your research. You have got the numbers. Now you can develop your graphics, your memory, or your size weight category in such a way so that your laptop models come at the top of that expectancy value model when people are comparing, and out of those comparisons there is a high probability that people will choose your phone, top probability for that things, right? So that's where this thing would come to a real life execution. So that's the basic big thing that we just covered under this pillar, which is called the buying decision process and purchase decision as well, which actually consists the product choice, brand choice, store choice, purchase quantity, purchase timing, payment method, everything. Okay, so this after this purchase decision, there is decision heuristics. Rather than calculating the perceived importance of every attribute across products in a consideration set, consumers often take mental shortcuts called heuristics and rules of thumb in the decision process. This is especially true when people are short on time and cognitive resources. Our brand and product knowledge, the name of the scenario of the brand choices, time pressure, and the social context, they just uses the thumbs rule. Okay, this model was good last time, I will buy this, this. These are the majority, these are the things which actually is required at this point of time. So they just take a shortcut. That's the heuristic that they are talking about while buying decision heuristic. They take the rule of thumb when there is short of time on other factors. The level of consumer involvement, elaboration like model, how much people and consumers are involved. The expectancy value model assumes a high level of consumer involvement. Okay, that is also not true. Every person will go through everything actively and they will decide the thing they want to buy. So that also comes to a factor. Then intervening model, this is like evaluation of alternative purchase intentions, situational factors, and options of others, and purchase decision is made. Okay, so this buying behavior also has this expectancy value model is there, where the products are scored with their competitors. Then this purchase decision is always not ideal. The decision heuristic, sometimes the consumers take the thumb rule, sometimes the consumers are not as involved as expected with all the product. They just use the likelihood thing with which they are more likely to purchase, what they are more likely to do while purchasing. So these are all the factors which comes here. So with this we came to the last part of this steps, 5-6 steps. This last step is post-purchase behavior. So this post-purchase behavior is also pretty important because the consumer has expected something, they have brought something. Now as a brand who have developed and given the product in exchange of some money, if the expectation is not met fully, then there will be some issue, right? The customer will feel betrayed. They will think, yeah, I just gave this much of money, but it's not working the way they wanted. So the services which I included to this, if after the purchasing process, like the services are not delivered properly or anything, then it can create one issue, right? So this actually covers our consumer markets analyzing, or the aspects which we need to see while analyzing the consumer market, right? So in short, we have covered this consumer behavior model under this chapter, which is called analyzing consumer markets, where we Already before we have read about the tactics and the other factors. And then today we knew about the consumer psychology, some consumer characteristics, then the purchase decision, and all the related frameworks, all the related steps associated with it, and all the related possibilities associated with it. So with this note, we have just covered the third chapter, or rather than saying it third chapter, I would name the chapter which is analyzing the consumer market under understanding the market, which we just started today, the part understanding the market. So hope you had some takeaways from this video. If you have at any point of time, if you felt any of the examples could be better, or any of the examples which are coming in your mind regarding the concepts we just shared, discussed, then just write it in the comment box. Write down your thoughts and let us know if any particular topic under this chapters you want to know in details. Then we would definitely try to pick it up and discuss those, right? So the main motivation of creating behind this video is like we would cover the marketing management, we would share the knowledge, we would understand the concepts, and if you want to start a startup, if you want to start a business, if you want to know marketing more clearly, so you would come to know a lot of topics which are not well mentioned everywhere, which are not out in the public. Okay, so but those are still here in this marketing book, which we can actually try to understand, or which we can try to implement, and we can see improvement, right? So with this note, stay blessed and stay happy, and best of luck. We would come back to the next video where we would discuss our next chapter under this understanding the market, and the next chapter would be analyzing the business market. Today we have understood the consumer market, how consumer market is analyzed, then we would analyze the business market. So with this note, and best of luck, we are ending this video.